While I was waiting at the Defense Language Institute for an interpretation of the letter that was written to me by those ignorant pederasts known as ISIS, I noticed a man sitting in the hallway. Puko. Puko. And I thought to myself, I know a Puko. He's a little running Indian boy in Carmel Valley. He was made an honorary fireman by the local firemen. Once, years ago, I was outside a small grocery store, and I overheard Puko and his grandfather. And his grandfather said, "Fireman, Puko, fireman."
Puko! Fireman! Puko!
Overtime, Puko. Overtime.
Puko! Overtime! Puko!
Disability, Puko. Disability.
Puko! Disability! Puko!
Pension, Puko. Pension.
Puko! Pension! Puko!
You see, I'd be willing to bet that for every one heroic fireman, there are 1,000 firemen who just squirt water on stuff and get undeserved overtime pay and make ridiculous disability claims and get huge pensions to which they didn't put any money. But I know there are some good firemen. There were some this past summer that fought the fire in Cachagua. A fire that was started by a man who covered himself in gasoline, lit himself aflame, and ran around in the dry brush. A fire that destroyed several homes and over 1,000 acres of forest. And the family claimed that he was mentally ill. Yet this man for years owned and ran a fancy luggage store in swanky Carmel. You ever notice that mentally ill people do things that are highly organized? Like driving far from the place you live into the woods during a drought and covering yourself in gasoline and lighting yourself on fire and running around in dry brush. Does that sound like the act of a crazy man? No. It sounds like the act of a dude who's a dick. I know that psychiatrists will say, that's insensitive. You're ignorant. Perhaps immoral. But hasn't the time come to do something about these people? Because for every mentally ill person who acts out in this way or acts out in violence, which I know is rare, There are thousands more who create chaos and mayhem in normal people's lives every day. Haven't we arrived at a place where it'd be okay to put them back in cages? Maybe put them in caves and push a boulder in front of them? Or before they do anything and they take photographs like this, and they love firearms and keep databases of mass murderers, can't we put those ones in burlap sacks with rocks and throw them in rivers? I was watching this man sobbing, really, not muttering, Puko. And I went over to him, and he looked at me and he said, "Let me tell you, sunken babies." Because where he's from, they call people babies. I see you sunken so terrible, you company. We go into the jungle. Deep into the jungle in Mexico. And we take Puko. We take Puko, little Indian boy, and we take him to the mouth of the cave. And to see something. That is the horror of it. It make you go crazy. Puko, he there. And the darkness come. And then you hear something. You know what, Daddy? The bats. The vampire bus. And they circling from the desert, and they're coming for him. And poor little Puko, Indian boy, he know not gonna hack it to him, babies. And the boss, they rise out of the mouth of the cave, and they on Puko, and they scratching him. They're making the noise. He's screaming, "Ay! Ay!" And the boss, they climb. They tear out the eye. They chew out here. He knows that there's blood everywhere. He put screaming, "Ay! Ay!" And then the boss, they go, he put on the ground, and he breathing. And then the jungle is quiet, and I hear something. A flaco, the little Indian boys too. And they're naked over there in the bushes. And they're doing something, babies. Something make me very horny. They're twins. They're brothers. And their wieners are hard. And they're doing sodomy things over there. And I like it very much, but I know I'm so concerned for Puko. But it's so hard not to watch Flaco. If Flaco make love only the way two Indian twin brothers can do. And Puko over there. On the ground. stop ripping. And then sucking, hucking. The mountain cat. The black panther of the jungle. He coming now. Real slow. Real slicky like a cocktail. And he got a smoker. And he smelled the blood on him. And then he do something you can't believe or see with your own eye. He go down to Puko crotch and he chew out his testicles. He mangled his gun and Puko let out while screaming. The uncle for me, my friend. The uncle babies. It a place for her. Where Mingo and they see thing you never want to see. Little Indian boys or brothers making love. That make me very horny though. And Poco, he tear per petty pass. He father.